Level up with Dr. Leyland. Step into the future, the world is waiting now. Dreams are in the making, we'll show you how. From the books to the screen, from the stage to the stars. Level up your game, let's raise the bar. Innovation, inspiration, it's in our DNA. Breaking through the limits, we're paving the way. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Empowered in your passion, your voice will be heard. Building a legacy with every word. From podcasts to pages, from business to art. Level Up's the place where it all can start. With heart and with vision, we're chasing every goal. Together we'll ignite the fire in your soul. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Oh, we're trailblazing, breaking through the mold. Dreams are alive, let your story unfold. With courage and pride, we'll take the fight. At Level Up, we own the night. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. So let's level up and never look back. On the road to greatness, we're on the right track. Together we'll soar, together we'll thrive. At Level Up Academy, we're alive.
All right, everybody. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for being here. Welcome to Level Up Academy's TV show. We are definitely on your Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. So you can check us out, E360 TV app. Download it if you don't have it yet. So today I have been surrounded by amazing brothers and sisters today, really talking about what's upcoming, right? We are not just talking about it in our personal, but also professionally. We're actually here to make sure that we have only 6 problems. And I said only, but it's actually really huge if you think about it, because it is something that everyone really needs, right? And so you're going to hear from my fellow researcher today on what is important to us, but what have we done to do research so that we can present it to you guys coming up this April 28th and 29th. So here is the amazing, look at this amazing, beautiful people, right? Here's the registration, guys. Go ahead and scan. I'm going to take about 30 seconds. I've also posted it on LinkedIn. I need to put it on my Instagram. I haven't done that on Facebook as well. It is virtual, and every single session is about 45 minutes and about 15 minutes Q&A if you have any questions. But we're really asking, and you're probably wondering who should come. Pretty much everybody. This is for everybody. There is no niching down. These are problems that we are trying to solve, and you never know who's able to help us, whether you're an investor, a policymaker, a judge, an educator, right? A business owner, a mom, a parent, a grandparent. I don't care who you are, right? Because the problems that we're having is literally these things. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about ADHD. We're talking about entrepreneurs who have disability. We're talking about belonging, not just productivity, but belonging in your core group, whoever your core group is. We're talking about mental health and suicides rates for young adults and young youth, right? We're talking about mentorship for women and girls, right? We're talking about policy changes for the medical, those people who have medical conditions that might not be able to speak during their time of needs, right? We're trying to marry literally, right, what we know, maybe even leverage technology. And like I said, we're limited to what we know. So that's why we're invited everybody to come here, join us so we can have the conversation and move the needle forward. So that's what we are trying to do. So thank you so much. And ta-da! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this book. My book, I don't know what happened to my other the hardcover. I cannot wait. So Sana already has her hardcover and I was jealous because I was feeling it. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is our first anthology that we did hardcover because it was literally okay, I was being selfish. I love printing the pictures of Cheerio. That's my dog, guys. I have 3 dogs right now. I used to have 4, but the other one went to the Rainbow Bridge. So Cheerio is like my baby, and she actually is wobbling lately. I was talking about wobbling. Her right leg is kind of given up too, and I was my husband actually tries to carry her everywhere now at the house because she has wobbly leg. But it's beautiful. It's colored, right? So yes, we're inviting you to continue to support the stories of everyone. It is #1 international bestseller as our 4 other projects last year. So I'm so proud of that. So this is the QR code now. We have a new one. This is Susanna's project. This is her baby. It's called Grateful, A Heart Wide Open. This anthology is going to start in May, and then you're going to have your book on June. It's a heart opening invitation to share your soul, to honor your journey, and also to inspire the world through gratitude, right? Attitude with gratitude was what she's thinking about this. But let me ask you this question. What if one heartfelt story could shift someone's life? What if that story was yours? Right? Join the pages of Grateful, A Heart Wide Open, where healing, triumph, and thankfulness collide into something unforgettable. When we start our projects, we really don't know what the outcomes, and we stop thinking about the outcomes. We enjoy every journey, every person who are involved in our anthology. So this is an author's call. That is the QR code directly to Susanna's webpage, basically to explain exactly where we're coming from, what the topics are, what we're going to do, and what we are doing. So that is our anthology coming up. And my magazine, I'm still thinking about what it also comes out in June. What is the topic for that one? It's usually I will feel it out. So I'm sure I'll have some topics soon for sure. All right, guys. Ta-da! Welcome everybody. Why can't I see? My eyes lately has been very bad. I think I've been working too much in the computer, guys. So let me put on everybody. There's my sister. Hello. There's Megan. He's very sleepy. Charlie. And of course, Shonda and our sister Danielle is not here right now, but she will be here, I'm hoping, and she's here in spirit. So let's go ahead and start with Shonda. How are you doing? Can you hear me, Shonda? I don't know if she can hear me. I don't think she can hear me. All right. So, Charlie, what about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm so grateful to be here. And one of my passions is to advocate for ADHD, and this is such a wonderful way to do that. So I love the being able to combine science and academics, and then practical applications. So I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Miguel, how are you doing?
Hello, thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm doing well today. Uh, Likewise, I'm grateful to be here, specifically talking about my research work. Um, it's very contemporary, and so I'm looking forward to putting it out there.
Yes. And I actually We tried to edit your thesis as well. So this is something like a continuation of your work. So I'm super excited. Sister, how are you doing?
I'm excited to get this going. It's been, of course, it's been a wild week. Last week, it's been busy, a lot happening. But going into this, this I love the project. I love everything we're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.
I know, me too. I'm actually super excited. So last night I created a 5-week course for AI beginners
Hmm?
and history. And because I've been talking about like creating my own bots to help with personal branding, and I was thinking, I'm like, well, if my topic is mentorship for women and girls, maybe I'll invite all just women. But what happened to all my men friends? They're gonna be hating me. You guys don't need it. You guys are ahead of AI, right? We don't need it, right? So I was just like laughing about that. So let's dive right into it because we do have limited time. Hopefully Shanda will be able to come back. Charlie, can we talk about your topic and kind of take us through of the why you choose this and also what your problem statement is?
Sure. Yeah. So first of all, I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and a big part of why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I was diagnosed at 38, so now I'm 44, and finding out that I had ADHD was so transformational that basically I decided I want to devote so much of my life to becoming better and then helping other people. So I had kind of dreamed about becoming a psych NP, and then I realized how powerful medications and therapy was, and that pushed me over the edge. So I am very compelled to, um, yeah, to be here and to help people, and I'm actively practicing, and I just love it. So my problem statement is that for over 200 years, ADHD assessments have and treatment have been 200 years. So it's basically been around and been a deficit focus for that long. And much as in the medical field, at least the diagnosis part, it's focused on pathology. Um, and there's underrepresentation in research. So it's where traditional assessments have largely been developed and validated um, with homogeneous populations, specifically just boys. Often I'm underrepresenting also, which I'm really passionate about, adult women, which is so much of my. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted, but all right. But these groups exhibit not the typical like little boy jumping around in the classroom, but more the inattentive, unable to really like have time management, organizational things like that. So the thing I'm passionate about is it's actually a neurobiological condition. So people are born with it and they have it their entire life. It's not just it doesn't come and go. It's all the time. And my argument is that it is very difficult to live with, but there's also ridiculous strengths. So I don't know if you know this, but 4 to 7%, so like of all people, humanity have ADHD. And that's according to like unbelievable research. Then there's a 75 to 80% genetic component. So basically, if that means if for me as a parent, there's a 50% chance that my children are going to have ADHD. It's really incredible. Okay, so I did some research, and then I'm sorry, my solution is more strength focused. So it's a dual perspective. So it's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. Bad analogy, I guess, but it's having the diagnosis, but then also having a positive solution because there's so many people with ADHD, like myself, who have master's degrees. There's I know like emergency room doctors, anesthetists, Nobel uh, peace winners. I mean, it's just incredible how many people don't go to see a doctor and diagnose with ADHD, and then also the prevalence of women who are like high end achievers, entrepreneurs. It's insane how many people have ADHD and don't know it, or just live with it. You know. Okay, we got distracted with ADHD. All right, so the research I did, root cause analysis. So the key findings I had, so it's entrenched in clinical training for, like I said, for 200 years of a more of a deficit model. And so there's methodological challenges and quantifying positive attributes because we haven't really studied it. I also use the 5W1H framework. So who engage a diverse range of stakeholders. So this is a solution including clinicians, researchers, educators, neuropsychologists, and policymakers. People like also who are entrepreneurs, I think is really important to include that. So develop innovative assessment tools that capture both traditional impairments and positive strengths. I'm doing it now in my practice actually, and I know a lot of other people are. And there's a big push for life coaches as well, ADHD life coaches, and making that clinical evidence. There's a lot of great research on that, which my paper will talk about. And I'll just go to the why. To reduce stigma, power all individuals with ADHD, which is 4% of the population of humanity, improve overall treatment outcomes by recognizing cultural and gender-specific differences. I feel like I'm going on and on. So my solutions, like I said, is a dual perspective because there's so much negativity, right? Because you're like, oh, they're so ADHD, they have so many problems. The DSM-5, which I don't know, I have mixed feelings about that, but nonetheless, I think it does an accurate job of saying this is what's wrong and what impacts life in a negative way. But I really propose that we focus on the strengths. So people with ADHD often have hyper focus. So if they're interested in something, they're able to focus, I think, like 10 times longer than a neurotypical person. So much creativity, like so many artists and athletes. I don't just the people that use creativity, marketers, things like that. Okay. So
No, that's good. That's good, Charlie.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I hope I'm not
No,
getting.
no, it's okay because we're just talking about the problem statement literally today. Because
Okay.
next time, which is on the 24th, the week before our conference, I want to talk about solutions on the possible solutions from our research. So today we're going to just focus on the problem statement. But I love that what you're doing is because you're right. There's so much negativity also on the ADHD, but at the same time, I feel like social media has glamorized having ADHD. Um, People are saying, "Oh, I have ADHD," or "Oh, I want ADHD," or "Can I buy an ADHD?" Like, it's not funny.
Right.
None of it is hilarious, right? It's just not funny because there are so many things that we lack, and like depression, anxiety that we lack to talk about. All these things. Hyper focus is good. I have ADHD, and I just found that out. So Sana just literally found that out because I pushed her to get tested. But at the same time, it's not a solution for one all be all, but we have to start talking about it. So I can't wait to see what solutions you have picked for your problem statement. So thank you for sharing that. Shanda hopefully will be able to hear us. Maybe there she is. Okay. Shanda, go ahead and introduce yourself and then let us know what your problem statement is.
Alrighty. So my problem statement is looking at creating solutions for youth-centered suicide prevention and looking at what works for them and engages them specifically. What we find with our problem is that we have very siloed solutions for kids. And we have this dramatically increasing youth suicide problem that kind of mirrors and goes along with our national suicide crisis for mental health. And it's over year, with the exception of 2024, it went down just slightly, like less than 2%. But year over year, it's continuing to grow to the point that where right now the Department of Defense has listed youth suicide ages 14 to 24 as a matter of national security, because it's one of the driving mitigating factors of why they're not meeting their recruiting goals for military as well as for STEM, like civil service jobs and STEM related fields. So, as we're looking at a national crisis of suicide across the board, a national crisis of a lack of enough mental health professionals, especially for pediatric professionals, I'm looking at in my problem statement is looking at what can we actually do to engage youth more, where what with what resonates with them, and what solutions can we bring about. Specifically, can we use things that they're already engaged in? Statistically, kids spend up to 8 hours a day engaged in music, videos, and games. So, what is the impact of us using those things to actually bring about mental health services for kids? What is the impact of bringing those things together? My problem also looked at collaborative approaches to doing that, mainly because, again, everything that we have right now is very siloed. We're looking at one aspect of a very multifaceted problem that is going to take a collaborative approach to reach kids where they are and bring them where they want to go.
I love that. How about you, Miguel? What is your problem statement?
Well, my project started, it was based off of my master's research, actually, which was original um, data obtained by me through my personal education. And within this opportunity, I took the chance to expand upon that frame of thought by extending on the theoretical framework that I utilized. But overall, my research focuses more on overall society, structural barriers built into society, and social contracts, and how all of us are agents living in this world. We all inherently agree to behave in certain ways, agree to certain conditions for the betterment of everyone, just for everyone's participation in society. But yet, so then why are people still excluded? And then that exclusion as well is built into these societal structures, but yet they're not exposed. So I take a critical theory approach aspect to my research, and in particularly, um, as this type of inequality, it impedes equitable access to labor and digital economies for disabled individuals. We already well know that disabled persons are excluded from a lot of portions of physical material society. But now we are facing this digital turn in the evolution of the world that we live in. And then so now these digital economies, these digital realms, spaces, and spheres on the surface level are being promoted as all welcoming, all inclusive, all accessible. But yet, but really, we're just reproducing the same types of structural inequalities and social exclusion that has been found for decades in the physical material world, and they're all manifesting also in these digital created spaces. And then so this is just further proof of needing to reframe policies. My solutions mainly are policy based solutions and recommendations. And so when you get the chance to read my research, it's going to touch on a lot. This is very, very rich, deep analytical thinking across multiple realms. And I look forward to putting it all together for you in a way that is consumable and understandable for everyone who picks it up. Thank you.
I love it because we're trying to provide solutions. Okay, I'm going to do last. So, Sister Susanna, what is your opening statement?
So, anybody who knows me, I talk about how I hate being stuck in boxes, and really that goes into a need to belong. And when I look at organizations tend to focus more on the productivity. It's caring about the bottom line, because business isn't in business for money. But they're losing productivity when they're missing that culture of belonging and psychological safety within the organization. When people don't feel like they belong, when they don't feel psychologically safe, they're going to be less inclined to give ideas. They're going to be more likely to find a new place, because we want to belong someplace. We want that place where we feel safe, where we can express ideas. And for organizations, it's bringing that data together that says this is going to happen if you create this space of belonging. You create this space where everybody feels safe to be their authentic self, to walk in and not worry about judgment, but feel supported. They're going to give more of themselves, and that's going to create more opportunities. And so that's where I'm looking at in terms of the problem statement, and trying to get organizations to see that creating this type of environment, it's actually beneficial to their bottom line. I've talked it with sustainability. I talk it with this, looking at business from a business standpoint. But the people are part of the business. They're not just cogs in a wheel.
All right. I love that you talk about business and productivity and belonging, because we do focus more on productivity, cranking it. And now we have AI, we have robots and all this, and we're going to lose job. It's craziness, right? And that's why I wanted to also create at a different perspective. My ADHD is kicking in on AI beginners, because I need everyone to skill up, learn what it is, right? Just because you're using ChatGPT doesn't mean you're an expert in AI. Give me a break, okay? Give me a break. I use AI, ChatGPT. No, that's not how it works. You need to know the history, the timeline of when it started, since 1955 during Turing. But anyway, we're digressing. Um, I'm so passionate about women and girls because of my two daughters. So I have research going about 3 decades. Since I came in this country, I was 13. I didn't know how to speak English. I started researching women and opportunities since age 16. And then I got out of my house at age 18 and moved out on my own, and just to really see and test how it works. I put myself to school. Yes, I did have ADHD, but I have a structured ADHD for some reason. Yes, I am messy. I'm just gonna tell you guys that. You should see my office right now. Like, what is happening here? But you know what's funny? I can see and find my own things in my own mess. But if someone cleans it up, I'm like, what happened? And it looks so pretty and clean. I'm like, wait, I can't find anything. And my daughter's like, Mom. And I was like, I know, I live in my mess, right? But like, I see my mess and I know exactly where to find my mess within my mess. That's ADHD for real, right? And there's so many things that ADHD people are different, but the same at the same time, because they're not created equal. So, because of that, I have actually focused on breaking barriers, a theoretical and empirical research role on mentorship in women's career advancement. Guys, keep in mind, I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years as well. I did have a business in between. I did raise my children, and I did went to school while I was stay-at-home. But this is my problem statement, and I will read it to you. Despite growing commitments to workplace gender equity, women continues to face systemic obstacles in achieving leadership positions. Mentorship has emerged as a key driver of professional growth and leadership readiness, yet its mechanism and impact remain inconsistently implemented and under theorized. So, drawing upon three theories, guys: social learning theory, human capital theory, and social capital theory. These studies actually examines how structured mentorship models can be optimized to dismantle structural and cultural barriers to women's career progression. Okay. So for me, mentorship offers more than just career advice. It cultivates leadership skills, self efficacy, and access to critical professional networks, particularly when formalized and supported by an inclusive organizational culture, right? So barriers like underrepresentation of female mentors, gender biases, and then intersectional challenges faced by women of color, women with disabilities, and those from lower socioeconomic backgrounds limit mentorship potential. Currently, I also serve as GMI mentor, mostly underserved students around the world. And so I pick usually certain countries. And so I'm part of GMI still, and I'm going to be doing 16 weeks mentorship program again for a specific young lady, I'm sure, to come in, right? But I'm going to show you something a little bit on my presentation, part of my problem statement and the why. I know it's kind of small right now. Um, this is part of my presentation that I'm sharing a little bit. Okay. So keep this in mind. This is not my research. I'm using research to support my problem statement of why it's important to have mentorship for women and girls, right? Especially if you have a young daughter, a niece, right? A sister, a friend that's young right now that you want your daughter's friends, your daughters, right? And your granddaughters, your great granddaughters. Think about it. Okay, it's hard. I get so emotional because I have two daughters, but it's like, wow, my kids were not even going to see this change. Now keep this in mind. This is data from World Economic Forum in 2021. United States, that's, I'm focusing on United States because I am in United States and I'm an American. Okay, in 2021, during like a year after COVID, United States were rated number 30 in terms of wage earning gap. Okay, number 30. Keep that in mind. Now, in 2022, right, I was hopeful because we moved from number 30 to number 27. I'm like, yes, we move up 3. This is wonderful. Now, in 2022, this is the world's global gender gap, not just the US, the whole world. We're at 68%. We're failing our women and girls. We're 68% closing in. Okay. Now, this is the global top 10. I'll talk about that more in detail when I will do my presentation again in April 28th. But look at this. At current pace, guys, okay, with when are regions likely to close the gap? 2022-19, we all be done by then. No, our kids are not even alive by then. But 22-19, okay? And look, this right here, let me see if you're seeing it. Yes, you are. Okay. This right here, it's telling me that South Asia is going to take them 197 years to even close that gap. Slowly, almost there. East Asia and the Pacific, 168 years. Central Asia, 152. Middle East, 115. Sub-Saharan, 98 years. Latin America is gonna 67. Europe is 60, and North America, which is Canada and United States, is gonna take us 60 years. So maybe, just maybe, I might be able to see my kids can see that gender gap, right, closing in. It's craziness. Now I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna stop right here and show you. I'm pretty much showing you all my all my data at this point. But in 2023, just 12 months from 22, remember we were number 27. How the heck in the world did we jump in the United States to number 43? I'm scratching my head. I hope you guys have the answer too. We went from 30 to 27 to 43? Shouldn't we be moving up, not down? What happened, America? What happened? Right? This is why I'm so passionate about mentorship for women and girls. And I'm not just talking, I am doing. I've been a mentor for over 2 decades for women and girls, locally, internationally, online, in person. I'm asking you, what are you doing to mentor women and girls to help us at least get that, right? So that is why I'm here. So I love that. Yeah, I see Danielle coming up. So that is the reason why I'm passionate about doing academic research, because it's a fact. We're not just pulling things from the air like, oh, this is how we feel. No. There are research after research after research, but We're just talking about the problem today. So next time on April 24th, we're going to talk about the solutions. But I have questions for people. One more round, but let me put up Danielle because she's here. Thank you, sister, for coming in. All right. So I'm going to stop now because I'm getting way too passionate about what I'm about to talk about. So, sister, talk to us about your problem statement and let us know who you are.
Okay. Thank you, sister. Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Manauis, co-owner and CEO of Castaneda Manauis Consulting. We typically specialize in human resources. We believe in empowering leaders and organizations to lead with their hearts and communicate with empathy, which we believe is very powerful and transformative in the workplace and has powerful impact on your productivity, efficiency, and increases ROI. We really focus on solution-oriented solutions that provide straight and effective solutions for those organizations. In line with what we're talking about here, with these amazing leaders next to all of us, in line with Human First, my research will bridge the gap or address more of the gap for cognitive impairments in the medical setting. And it highlights the tremendous progress that we've made in the world. But it also brings awareness to public policy that still needs changing, and also highlights areas that are critical in emergency, not just for patients in general, but for patients with cognitive impairments that hinder communication for not only their advocates, but for the patients themselves. So this is particularly near and dear to my heart because my husband suffered multiple debilitating strokes in the last year or so. And if you could believe it, he's only 44 years old. And how it connects to our business is that we believe in heart and empathy. And we feel that this could have been crucial and critical in his care and moving forward. So my problem statement is many individuals with cognitive impairments or medical vulnerabilities struggle to receive appropriate care during emergencies, particularly when away from familiar environments. So not just here in the United States, but universally, the absence of an advocate can lead to miscommunication, delays in treatment, or even critical medical errors. Implementing reliable support systems such as digital health records, wearable alerts, and other things that I'll talk about soon can really help not only empower a patient to be treated with dignity and care in crisis situations, but also empower their family to speak on their behalf. Not to give too much out there, but for my husband, when he is in stroke, he is not able to fully communicate what's happening or what happened, his medical needs. And this is very critical because when EMTs respond to a stroke in a home, you don't necessarily go to the hospital that you normally go to, right? Or you might be on vacation. This can happen anywhere, right? You might be in a different country. Well, it's really important to have their advocates with them in certain situations, because for my husband, a medication that he could have been given that's typical in a stroke, and it's time sensitive, could have caused or had the potential to cause him to have internal bleeding. And so those decisions were being made before I got in the room, even though I had a medical power of attorney. So these solutions that we talk about is not just coming because I'm passionate about it. It's also because too many times do I see this not only happen to me repeatedly and my husband, but also to patients all around the world. So our goal is to highlight this and bring this to our policymakers and also to technology, that we can change that dynamic and bridge that gap for communication to really provide critical care and communication, not only for the patient, especially for the patient, but also to empower their advocates to be present and to know their rights in order to get them the care that they need. So thank you. I kind of was rambling a little bit. Thank you, ADHD and my neurodivergence. But I'm
You're in
so
the right space. See how we're passionate about it, guys. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, we're in the right area for sure. And I was so happy that Charlie was doing ADHD. I was dancing. I'm like, dancing queen. I was like, yes, Charlie, yes. I love it because I have that, but I didn't want to focus on that because my research really is. I've written so many things in journals right now. It's not even funny about the research for women mentorship. Anyhow, this is my next question for my team, and I'm going to start with Shonda, and then Charlie, Miguel, Susanna, and Danielle. Okay, and I'll go last, and this might be our last round, so keep it short. What real world problem or gap inspired the research, and can you describe the issue you're addressing and why it's important today?
Oh, absolutely. The real world problem that inspired me is my own son. As he transitioned from middle school to high school, he went into a school where, you know, 3 times as large. He started being picked on and bullied because of how he walks. He walks with a very significant limp due to cerebral palsy. Um, and there was a group of kids there that are emulating a gang because we're in a very nice suburban area, but there's a group of kids that want to be gang members that started picking on him, and it got to so severe that he had been rushed from school by ambulance twice, 2 concussions, and eventually he attempted suicide. So my search and research started from me taking what I do in corporate for gap analysis and applying it to the youth suicide crisis problem to figure out how can I save my son, because I wasn't finding what we needed. Everything was disjointed and siloed, and not built for kids. We're giving kids adult solutions. We're taking them to counseling and thinking that's going to be okay, but that's not how kids and Gen Z interact and respond. So I created what wasn't there, and that's how I got into all of this.
I love it. Thank you for creating that, and we're part of that. So I love it. I'm so happy about that. Charlie, how about you, sir?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier, I know I said a lot, but it's very sobering that 4 to 7%, let's just say 4% of the population have ADHD. So it's a way of, just a way of thinking, just the way the brain and the body is wired. And there's so little treatment. It's very sad. I mean, and what's really amazing also is that the treatment is one of, and arguably not the most treatable condition, right? Like there's a mixed view of stimulants, but there's a 60 to 70% success rate, which is nearly unheard of. And then it's pretty much, I mean, I can't say 100% truth, but it's pretty much, I would say gospel that executive functioning is the key to the focus of ADHD, and that can be treated. That there's tools, there's all these different research that's out there, but people don't know it. So just getting people aware of like what does ADHD look like, and then also how can it be treated, and then when treated, not just focusing on what's wrong with people, like what's right with you. Look at CJ, like freaking A, man. Like what have you? Look all the things you've done for me and so many people, and it's because of your ability to think and hyper focus and be creative and empathetic and just not stop. Right? You're a prime example of that, and that's something that the world needs. Right? And that's also a lot of people with ADHD. They feel like outcasts. They don't understand who they are. With the lack of executive functioning, you're not able to function in the world a lot of times. But if you're able to go, okay, well, I'm missing that, and I can partner with someone who does, or I can learn tools that can, it can really transform the world in so many different ways. So, how many missing CJs are out there? I think that's
We gotta pull them in. We gotta pull them in. And that's why mentorship for me is important, because a lot of women are not diagnosed. And I'm not saying you should put your name and labeled in the box so you can be labeled. I'm not saying that. I'm saying once you know your box, then you can actually take it apart, right? because then you find your people. You're not feeling judged because you're crazy. You have these ideas, and I love it because like I said, I never feel like I belong anywhere, because if I'm an American, but if I go to most of my Caucasian friends, I feel weird, like awkward. Or if I'm in my Filipino, I'm not American enough, or I'm not Filipino enough. Like, okay, I'm so tired of labeling, but at the same time, I'm so tired of people not understanding, right? And I actually just quit talking to my colleagues, because when I'm asked, "What are you doing, CJ?" and I list what I do, because to me that's normal in my head, but apparently it's not normal. So I just shut up. I just shut up because, and then they ask me, like, "How do you do that? There's only 24 hours." I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you. I do four things at once. That's just how my brain works, right?" But somehow you're being punished for it because you're doing so much. And then they question, is your quality really good? I'm like, well, check my work. I've been doing it for a while now, right? And so that label needs to come out, but also that stigma needs to be dismantled, that if you have ADHD you can't finish. I have 4 degrees, I have 2 masters, I'm about to get a PhD so I can have 2 doctorates. I wanted to do medical, but I saw blood and I fainted, so that ain't for me. That's for sure. I literally saw blood. I'm like, "Eek." I woke up. I'm like, oh, it's been 3 hours. What happened, guys? Right? So it's just not happening. So I'm so glad you did this, Miguel. Let me put the question back again. What real
Hi.
world problem or gap inspired your research, and can you describe the addressing and why it's important today?
Well, I am a proponent of activist research, and activist research involves the researcher himself, the researcher putting himself in the work, as well as any type of investigation or query that challenges traditional structures in the world. And me coming just from my background, just me existing, being a Hispanic male coming from a low income, very high crime neighborhood, um, and in enduring and overcoming traumas just on a personal individual level, and then and then having so much lack, and then developing himself to reach a new level, and then trying to assimilate himself with that history and background, which is ingrained in my DNA, into these non accommodating, inaccessible societal structures. And really, I became an entrepreneur myself. And then this is what, and then tying in the activist research design, this is what I want to focus in on: disadvantaged populations, marginalized communities, and uplifting them. About It's about giving equity back to those groups of people who have had it taken from them over many, many, many generations. And a real world application today is me. I'm living it. Uh, Not having to explain myself, and just go about and be at peace with my own decision making and the environments and the spaces and people I communicate with. And I'm able to do that. And so disability is often assumed to be incompatible with work,
Mm.
you know, also maybe perhaps even incompatible with intellectual levels of thinking. But I'm a contradiction to that frame of thinking. And I want to elevate those types of stories as well, because it's impactful and powerful, and that's what inspired me to look further into what I had already had interest in.
I love that. I think we're all rebel with a cause, guys. I can feel that. Susanna, take it away before I go on tangent.
What, you go on tangents? Everything I do, it all began with not being able to deal with a box. Yes, sometimes we have to know the name of the box, but fitting those boxes that other people say, this is who you are, this is who you're supposed to be, I couldn't deal with it, because then I'm not being myself. I'm not going into a space where I belong. So belonging became an important aspect of what I talk about, what I look at, because really within the last couple of years, I never felt like I belonged anywhere. There was never any place. In the workspace, it's all wearing a mask. And I talk about masks as well, because we walk into these spaces and we're hiding aspects of who we are because we're afraid of what others might say, what they might do. We hear somebody say something and we can only interpret it in a negative way towards us. So that fear in the workplace makes it very difficult to let your creativity come out. Sometimes you may have the perfect idea, but you realize that if you were to share that idea, somebody might figure out what it is that you're hiding in the background. And so you're not going to share. And companies are missing out. Companies want to improve. They want to have great ideas. They want to grow. And some of them, they may think they're doing great on that bottom line when people don't feel safe. They may have a huge turnover every year and they just build it into the budget like it's just another piece of the budget, instead of saying, what can we do to really stop this? Why is everybody leaving? And so that's part of what I'm looking at, is creating that framework to help organizations see the value of belonging and how it affects productivity, because it's not just creating that aspect for workers, it's also thinking about the organization and how increased productivity benefits the organization. And in many ways, it's going to benefit the people who are doing it because they're coming up with new ideas. Their creative juices are just off and running. So they all kind of get mashed together, but it really comes down to, when you feel like you belong, your productivity is going to increase. And that's what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Bottom line too. You kind of mentioned bottom line. It's like, yeah, you build it in the budget, but imagine if you have a budget for something else other than hiring and firing. That would be great, you know? Sister Danielle, what about you, ma'am? I think you already kind of mentioned it. So if you want to add more into, um, you shared about Leo's situation, and how is that issue actually addressing, and why is it important today, not just for your family, but for other families out there as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think at the, bottom line, like what Sister Susanna was saying is, it really comes down to the person. It really comes down to creating agency for people to be treated with dignity and respect in really critical situations. And this is not to criticize a system, but to say, hey, these are areas that can be improved upon so that it can be worked through, right? This is critical, not just for patients with cognitive impairments, but also those who can't fully communicate for themselves. So that could, for me, I'm talking to you right now, but in that situation, I have my 5-year-old screaming, watching her dad, get wheeled off in a gurney. You don't, and I'm totally calm in most situations, but in that particular one, I just can't communicate in that situation. And I'm already, like, I have my own, I'm like panicking, my anxiety, calling someone to get my daughter, worrying about Leo, getting there, waiting 20 minutes for someone to get me back to him. No. Right? And so I think it just comes down back to the whole idea of human first. Remember that people, patients, you might be a neurologist, and nothing against that, a doctor, well-educated in knowledge, but remember, people are their experts because they see everything every day, right? I'm not saying they always know which way to go. I'm not saying that, doctors don't know best. What I'm saying is it should be in context of the decisions being made. And that's how you give dignity back to the patients. That's how we empower them. That's how we can make progress moving forward, not to criticize it, but and let's just, for the board members in the room today, this can decrease liability, right? This can decrease liability because if they're coming to you, they're not your patient, you don't know what medications they're on.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
might be giving them something that interacts bad with their, let's just start there. But anyways, I'll
Yeah.
get off my soapbox.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Errors and omissions is going to go low if you really do your job. You know what I mean? As a medical doctor. But keep in mind, just because they're an expert, and that's because they're a doctors, they're also limited to their experience also, right? There's no possible way. I don't care how smart you are, how good you are as a surgeon, you're also limited to only what you're doing. And so if you put human first and empathy first and show, put yourself in that situation. If you were not able to talk because you have that issue, wouldn't you want their family members to talk for them and with them rather than you making the decision and making a mistake that's like, oh, well, insurance will take care of errors and omissions if I murder someone today? Like, really? Right? Human first. And I love that. For me, I'm going to end this show literally about why mentorship matters for women and girls. It builds confidence and self-belief. I mentor Miguel mentors me, we both do, right? And so I don't have anything against men, but for me it's like, because of these data that I'm seeing, there are definitely discrepancy, and I'll show you guys during next time when we talk about solutions on the 24th. My sisters and brothers are going to come here and they're going to basically talk about at least one solution so that you can come in on April 20th and 29th and be part of the movement. But many girls and women experience imposter syndrome. And for those of you who says that doesn't exist, maybe to you. For us, it does. Okay, self-doubt exists, especially in male-dominated fields when you're in IT, right? Mentorship helps normalize struggles, encourage risk-taking, and affirm that their values and capabilities do exist. This mentor shows what's possible. Look at, you can't be what you can't see, right? So if you can't see yourself in these fields, then you probably feel like you don't belong. Why not, right? Provides guidance, roadmaps, expand your networks, expand your opportunities, encourage leadership and lifelong learning, because we need to learn as human beings, not just a one way of learning, but multiple way of learning. Culture, like Dr. New mentioned, is a big differentiator, right? Bridges this equity gaps, guys. STEM, business, politics, publishing, women, whatever that we're doing. But I'm just gonna get off now because we're over our time. But thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. We will see you again on April 24th, and register now if you haven't. Bye, everybody. See ya. Thank you
Thanks.
for almost 700 coming in.